This is Manama, the capital of Bahrain. It's a relatively progressive and evolving metropolis in the Arab world, and it's also a critical location for the US military.
We could not do what we do without them.
Bahrain might be a small country in the region, but it plays a huge role when it comes to peace efforts in the Middle East and security efforts for countries around the world. So, here's how the island kingdom came to play an important role on the global stage. Let's start with Bahrain's importance globally.
I am on a U.S. military ship in the Persian Gulf, right off the coast of Bahrain, and this is where the U.S. Navy is headquartered in the Middle East.
When you get out on the water, you start to see oil infrastructure, a reminder of why this region is critically important to the world. Bahrain is an island nation in the middle of the Gulf. Nearby are oil and gas-rich neighbors Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iraq, Iran, the UAE, and Qatar. The region contains an estimated 50% of the world's proven oil reserves, and the Strait of Hormuz, a few hundred miles from Bahrain's coast, is considered the world's most important choke point when it comes to oil shipping. That means security in this region is of vital interest to many countries around the world, including the United States.
This region literally and figuratively fuels the world. So keeping stability and ensuring maritime security here is job one for us.
From the base in Bahrain, Vice Admiral Brad Cooper commands U.S. naval forces in the Middle East and the biggest naval coalition in the world, made up of 34 countries. One of the Admiral's big initiatives, building out the world's first international fleet of unmanned vessels, in large part to counter Iranian activity. And he says Bahrain was the Navy's first regional partner in those efforts. Bahrain has also become a key player in diplomatic efforts across the Middle East. In 2020, it signed on to the US-brokered Abraham Accords along with Israel and the United Arab Emirates. Since then, Morocco and Sudan have also joined.
Our nations join the path of peace. And the Kingdom of Bahrain is really one of the pioneers in this process.
The signing of the accords normalized relations between Israel and some of its regional neighbors for the first time ever, and it paved the way for the countries to open embassies, participate in military exercises, and sign free trade agreements. Since the accords were signed, Bahrain's government has welcomed visits by Israeli leaders and even the Pope. A big reason why Bahrain's participation has been so important is the kingdom has close ties with neighboring Saudi Arabia, which has long claimed to lead the Muslim world. Officials say Saudi okayed Bahrain's deal with Israel, even though it didn't address statehood for Palestinians, and that signaled a monumental shift in the region. Bahrain is also seen as a gateway to the Saudi market for businesses, which was expected to be a big deal because the accords opened the door for more trade ties between Israel and its Arab neighbors. But here's the thing. Ties between Israel and Bahrain have been slower to advance compared to relations between Israel and the UAE. And polls show that support for the Abraham Accords has dropped throughout the region. Now, government officials and business leaders we've been talking to acknowledge they have to build on the progress that's been made in order for everyday citizens to feel the benefits of the accords. So, how is Bahrain hoping to reap more economic benefits from the Abraham Accords? Like other Gulf countries, Bahrain's economic prospects rise and fall with oil prices. But it has built out other sectors, and today, Bahrain is considered the most diversified economy in the region. According to the government, financial services accounts for more than 17% of the country's GDP, slightly more than crude petroleum and natural gas at 16.2%. By comparison, crude petroleum and natural gas account for about 35% of Saudi Arabia's GDP. Now, following the Abraham Accords, Bahrain is working to attract more investment from the US, Israel, and beyond as it works to continue growing its non-oil sectors. During a rare visit to the royal palace, which we could photograph but not film, the country's finance minister, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, said Bahrain has what he calls small country advantage, which has helped the kingdom move quickly on economic reforms. Bahrain has also been making an effort to boost tourism and capitalize on being an island with water in the Middle East. To increase the number of nights that tourists stay and the amount of money that they spend, the country has opened a $1 billion international airport, the Gulf's largest exhibition center, and a new amphitheater near its existing Formula One track.
Our population is 1.5 million. If we welcome 12, 14 million tourists a year, that's significant.
Right. But Bahrain faces challenges close by. The country is often overshadowed by its larger neighbors, who have built flashy islands, announced futuristic cities, and hosted massive sporting events. That includes Qatar, which Bahrain has icy relations with. And perhaps most critically, neighboring Saudi Arabia has begun to liberalize, allowing music festivals, movies, and possibly even wine bars. Bahrain and Saudi are linked by this causeway, which is just 15 miles long. It's Bahrain's only land connection to the outside world. And currently, a majority of Bahrain's tourists come from Saudi to enjoy things that aren't allowed back home, like alcohol.
As Saudi liberalizes, will they still be coming to Bahrain?
We're confident that growth and development in Saudi is a benefit for all of us in this region. What really happens is the pie becomes bigger, and everybody's individual slice of the pie continues to get bigger.